going to move on
Thanks.
to education.
Yes, ma'am.
Melissa Dunson.
I know that balancing the budget is really important to you, and that you've taken the no tax pledge.
Right.
So I'm wondering if you can give, it's a two-part question, if you can give a real brief synopsis, very brief, of your education plan.
Yeah.
And then some specific ways that you are hoping to fund that.
Okay. I'll try to be very brief. K through 12 in the areas not in the urban areas, not in Kansas City, St. Louis, because there are unique challenges there. Fully fund the new formula, and again, this next year is $125 million, and so that is going to be a priority. What we would encourage schools to do, this is not a mandate, but encourage them, is something that we are going to require in my administration in Kansas City and St. Louis, and that's something called School Stat, which City of Philadelphia has done. Is a very data-driven management idea where you even include teacher absenteeism, I mean a whole host of things to make sure that the schools are performing. Again, not a requirement in outstate areas, but in transitioning quickly in the urban core, I do have a specific school stat is one, more school choice, that is additional charter schools. We have to give teachers and principals more flexibility on how to teach our kids in the urban core. I'm in favor of teacher merit pay and opportunity scholarships. Again, the idea that you're committing more resources to the education of our kids, and again, this is in the urban core. And then finally transitioning from K-12 to higher education. The higher education funding formula that we put forward, first of all, I support MOHELA, the Lewis and Clark Initiative. I would not undo it. There's a difference between the Attorney General and me. This is a necessary investment in our higher education infrastructure around the state, much needed. But part of the reason why we see tuition increases is because there has been no certainty of funding for higher education for public schools. So we put forth a higher education funding formula. It does not take effect until 2011 because we see the tough budget picture in fiscal year 2010. Plus, we have the last year's installment of the promise that Governor Blunt made on higher education, and it's CPI plus 2% is the funding formula. And if that had been in effect over the last 9 years, we would have seen 7 years more money committed to higher education. And when I say higher education, let me make 4 years and community colleges and technical schools. They have to be at the table because they are really champions on developing our workforce.
As far as the education, the K-12 education system, you know, my wife's father was Commissioner of Education in the state of Missouri. My wife has got her lifetime teaching certificate. My mom's a teacher and president of her local school board. You know, and I think that, you know, I think there's a lot of good things going on in education in the state of Missouri that folks perhaps aren't talking about, and it just kind of stuns me when I see public education used as a wedge issue in campaigns. I mean, for me, it's a value. I mean, you support teachers, and in so we need to once again help expand the way we used to. Our alternative school program, for example, a program that the state developed in the early 90s that began to get a big foothold. It's a relatively simple program. So if a kid acts up in a class, if you kick them out, they got to go to an alternative school, which is a much more difficult and more disciplined environment, rather than kicking them out and them standing on the street corner and not graduating. But most of that comes down to the basic respect for teachers. Also through K through 12, we need to make sure that we are reformulating that senior year of high school. I mean, too many kids, you know, on both ends of the spectrum. The high achieving kids, the senior year of high school, and I probably got 3 seniors back here that'll give me trouble for it, but it's become too easy. I mean, they get their credits done, they're ready for college, and here you are in this year. I mean, I want to make it so that in every high school in the state of Missouri, kids can qualify for and get 15 hours of college credit their senior year of high school. It'll save a lot of money for those kids when they go on to college. It'll make that high school experience continue to be challenging. It'll get our kids ready for the college and for the workforce. For kids that aren't going into college, we need to make a connector so that we get this dropout rate down. Unfortunately, our dropout rate has stayed almost static, going up in some years. You can argue about how it's computed, but the bottom line is it hasn't gotten better. And you just can't compete in a modern world if you haven't got a high school degree. I mean, and so we need to draw these connectors. Instead of blaming the kids, start blaming the system and draw connectors to the jobs of the future, whether those are construction jobs or high-tech jobs or lab jobs or research jobs. There's a whole lot of careers out there that we need to line up through our community colleges and through our VOTEC programs. If I'm especially intense, shall we say, about community colleges, it's because my father's law partner was a state senator who helped pass the invention of junior colleges. My mother, as president of the school board, was on the committee that chose the first president of the first community college in the state of Missouri, which is Jefferson Junior College in Hillsborough, Missouri. And the person she chose as that president, or was on the committee that chose that president, was a guy named Charles McLean, who not only did a good job there, but went on to form Truman State and then become Commissioner of Education of the higher education of the state of Missouri. I just really think this pathway of community colleges providing an opportunity for education is important. That's why it's kind of the basis of my pathway to a 4-year debt-free college, which is finish it. One more thing about high school. I mean, one of the clips they made when they redid the formula that I think is a step backwards is not investing in like we used to as part of the formula and part of our education from the state in the teacher education programs. I mean, we used to have incentives in that formula, so if teachers that had bachelor's degree went on and got their master's, that there was incentives in that formula to help them. Removing that sort of what they call categoricals from the formula has taken away a pool of resources that get teachers to invest in their own careers and communities to get teachers to continue to go to school, which I think most teachers want to. Then we move into kind of the college part of this. Defining the problem, I mean, right now, one of the biggest challenges we've got in this state and in this country is folks who, when they graduate from college, the graduation gift they get is debt as opposed to being opportunity. I mean, when my father went to the University of Missouri, he was on a GI Bill, undergraduate law school. When he graduated, first dollar he made, he had his client sign the dollar, hung it up on his wall, still has it. When I graduated 35 years later, I worked in the summers as a laborer. Mom and Dad helped a little bit. First dollar I made, I mean, it went straight for a car, but I mean, I made that choice on that debt. You know? But now kids are graduating with tens of thousands of dollars of debt. And so what you have happen is that purchasing power, that investment in the economy of folks buying new cars, new houses, doing the things that folks used to do, instead they're paying off debt. That's why the plan I've laid out called the Missouri Promise goes right at that plan for the middle class of Missouri. It takes our A-plus school program, which is designed to provide 2 years community college tuition free, and instead of making that eligible by school, we make it eligible by student, so that every student statewide that meets those qualifications will be able to get that 2-year A-plus program. Then if they keep a B average and they want to go on and get their 4-year degree and they're middle class, $80,000 a year less in income, we provide 2 extra years at public colleges in the state of Missouri for their higher education. So you get a 4-year pathway for middle class families, debt free for college by that tuition pathway on through.